Hello everyone, Dark Kirby 14 here. Welcome to the redone first edition of Crash War. To figure out, I got a Paper Mario project going on. I still got that. I can get this started. So I'm starting to go through, redo certain projects because they're just crap, man. I feel offended that I did that to you all. In case you don't know the story of Crash 3 picks up after the events of Crash 2, like the end of Crash 2, more or less. That's kind of where it picks up from, is the last events of Crash 3, Crash 2, sorry. So yeah, it's that. So this is really the first time you see Uka Uka come to be like visible appearance, but he is apparently the guy behind 1 and partially behind 1 and 2, and he's the Aku Aku opposite. I always think that the person doing his voice now should have always done it. Because John DiMaggio is not a bad voice actor. Is actually very awesome, but he just didn't fit the sinisterness of Uka Uka. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. That's one of a few things that I feel like they did wrong with Crash of the Titans and Mound of a Mutant. Mound of a Mutant was slightly better, but it was still crap. And the one thing that really bit me about those two games, the redesigns, they were all awful. Specifically, and I go into further detail on Coco. Coco's was just sloppy in the first one. You can tell that they halved it. You can tell in that one they half-assed it. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that was a half-assing job. But that was just absolutely no. There was just so much done wrong. It was very it was very tough to watch. Like, as a Crash Bandicoot fan, that was just very disturbing. Also, you'll see it later on. This is the first time you get to see like Coco going like out in the adventure field, like partially. Like, Crash 2, she was introduced. Crash 3, she's more into it. And she's really much more into it in Crash, Wrath of Cortex. Crash Wrath of Cortex, where she's really the first time you see her on foot. Which is kind of cool. I mean, kind of to step out of it. It's really nice to see that.
Crash, why must you always muck in my blood? Oh, look, I have
yeah, Cortex gonna mention Uka Uka here.
We will find out which one is more powerful soon enough.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first one. Well, I don't know why Crash is running there, but this is defaulting. I mean, I see some people like on Facebook say that Crash, the Titans and Crash might have been amazing games. No, they were not. They were not amazing at all. They were horrible. All of them. Every last one of them were terrible. And it's not just me being picky here. It's just they were that bad. And those games suffered from a myriad of problems. This is the unfitting style, the obvious redesigns, which were horrible. And horrible meaning all of them were horrible. Well, actually Cortex's was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Neo Cortex's redesign was pretty good. Tropy they didn't change a thing with Tropy, so really hard to gauge that one either way. So that's really it, but I still think Crash 3 is the best of them. Like, of all the Crash games, But the Crash trilogy, Crash 1, 2, and 3, that's better than every Crash game put together since then. Those 3 games just on their own. Like, just on their own were better games. Like, much better games. Because there's also Wrath of Cortex, which wasn't bad, but again, had its own set of problems. Such as it wasn't always patched in some areas, and some things were visible, and maybe if I play through it, you'll see what I mean. But I do plan to do a playthrough of it at some point. I remember doing it starting like when I first did videos on YouTube. I had no commentary on it. I did do that game, but like I said, I wanted to be able to do commentary so you could hear my voice. So that's kind of what that was all about. Yeah. That's kind of the whoops. There we go, there's that gem. That beautiful gem. As I was saying before, like another thing that really bothered me, the redesigns, they turned Tiny into a giant faggot. I'm gonna say it. They turned him into a giant faggot. Like, they turned him into a fruitcake. Tiny's old character was awesome, because Tiny was the brute. They didn't have that. They kind of took that away, and it's like, why? Like, he was Cortex's muscle man. It's like, why take that away? That one didn't make sense to me at all. As to why you would take away like that one like really good personality about Tiny. That one was just off with. That one was just odd for me. It's just yeah, that one doesn't make sense to me. Huh. That one just didn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't understand. Like, that one I really don't understand. I don't like Crash's redesign. Well, one thing they took away is boots. That's the thing you don't... Like, if you have something that isn't broken, why tamper with it? That's always the way I view things. Like, the designs were good. Like, maybe they felt like they wanted to make themselves more attached to the design, but they wound up ruining it. They wound up ruining a lot of the design. It just didn't make sense to me. Anyway, I'm looking, in terms of other things, I'm looking forward to the Arsenal-Liverpool game on Monday. Go Gunners! And speaking of that, I'm gonna do a FIFA Let's Play. I'm gonna do a FIFA of Arsenal. Like I've already said, let's do one with VfL Wolfsburg, the Bundesliga team I like, and the Seattle Sounders. Like, I decided that I am gonna do one of the Seattle Sounders. I'm not gonna do the preseason stuff. I'll do like all the other cup stuff like during the season, but I'm not gonna do all the other warm-up stuff because it just doesn't make any sense to me to do all that stuff. I might try and make some acquisitions depending on certain ways too. I'm gonna see if I can get some of my favorite, like some of the older players that I like on the Seattle Sounders and maybe Arsenal as well. I'll do my best, but I can't guarantee anything. You won't be able to see that though, unfortunately, because it's gonna take up time. I know a lot of Manchester City fans. That came as a shock to me. Like, I expected everyone to be like a Man United fan. I know more Man City fans. That's kind of cool. I know more Manchester City fans. You know, Manchester City just finally decided to start being good and not being uber rubbish. I just can't stand Chelsea. Because Mourinho is a conceited douchebag. And most of their players are douchebags. It's just hilarious. Like, some of the things that Mourinho says are hilarious. Oh! Oh! Probably should have went after that first. Another thing I want to point out, like, another thing covers sports, I guess. Never mind. I should probably talk more about Crash. I think Crash Team Racing is the best of the three. And because it gets the controls right, everything is good. It's got a solid adventure mode. And like I said about Nitro Kart, it had a lot of potential. It had a good amount of potential. It just didn't meet it. Like, that game had a lot of potential, just didn't meet it. Alright, now this is where you first get to play as Coco, however, not physically play as her. Like have her on foot. You're playing her in a riding level, which is kind of cool. It's a cool dynamic to introduce. That's kind of cool that they introduced that dynamic and really start to use Coco a little more, which is cool. You should be able to use all your assets. So that's kind of that's one thing I really like. Oh, didn't get that one. I already missed one at the beginning anyway, so what does it matter? That's kind of insignificant. Yeah, the crystals in this one they're a really easy get. That doesn't matter. I missed the other crates anyway. Okay, so I got that. Yeah, I know which ones I missed. Game doesn't have to make that apparent to me. So, so this game isn't called Crash 3, it's just called Crash Bandicoot Warped. That's kind of the mistake I made earlier when I labeled this. Anyway, so this has been Dark Kirby 14. We'll see you next time more Crash Bandicoot Warped.